Well, that was courtesy of Steve Smith, here now, differently gendered but similarly divided. Two candidates hoping to be the first member of the French National Assembly representing the seat of Northern Europe. French people living everywhere from Iceland to Finland. Since most of them live in West London, it's known for short as the constituency of South Kensington. Axelle Lemaire is the Socialist Party candidate, and Emmanuel Savary is from Nicolas Sarkozy's UMP. What for you was the most exciting point of this debate?
I think that was the first time actually Nicolas Sarkozy could ask a real question to François Hollande. Until now, he didn't want to answer any question. He was completely avoiding any debate. So that was a good starting point to have finally a debate.
You presumably take a completely contrary view, being of the opposite persuasion.
Completely.
Yeah. What did you think was the exciting moment in it?
I think it was, all in all, to see that Mr. Hollande has a very strong personality. He was both firm, stable, convincing, straightforward, whereas Mr. Sarkozy appeared as irrational, nervous. He was both patronizing and appearing as a victim. That's not what we want as president.
Why is François Hollande so dull then, if he's so charismatic in this debate?
I think he has started his campaign 1 year ago. He has defined a program. He's sticking to his lines, sticking to his ideas. He has very convincing arguments, and he doesn't keep changing his mind just like Mr. Sarkozy has been doing.
I suppose there's also a chance he might be a bit nicer about Britain than Mr. Sarkozy's been.
I think François Hollande is changing his mind. He's proposing things which are actually not correct, because even the number he presented tonight were not correct. So how could you trust someone actually don't know what he's talking about and start to make announcement and criticizing Nicolas Sarkozy, actually, who tried to do his best actually to save France during the financial crisis?
It's interesting, isn't it, that most French people don't seem to share your analysis. There isn't a single poll that shows that Sarkozy's going to win.
But today we had an extra points on the poll today. So we can see the people, the French people start.
It's not enough still to win, though, is it?
We see on Sunday.
Okay. Now, look, I'm very intrigued by the two of you. Here you are sitting in a studio in London discussing French politics, about to face off against each other in a constituency which actually is not in France at all. And this is a very, very odd state of affairs, isn't it?
I don't know if it's odd. I think it's quite interesting and progressive, this idea that French citizens can live abroad, so they travel with their passport and their right to vote. They keep this political link to their country.
What do you think of this? Don't you find it slightly bizarre?
Not at all. For the last 30 years, the French people have been asking to have a representative of French people living abroad in France. So I think it's a good step. And actually, one thing very important, it's François Hollande actually vote against it. The socialists are against it. So today, Axelle actually say it's very,
are you seriously saying
good.
That people are within their rights to move out of France because they find the tax regime, for example, a bit burdensome, and still retain the right to choose the government there?
No, it's not a question of leaving the country to avoid tax. It's
for whatever reason they leave the country. Some of them do leave for that reason, as you know.
Yeah, those one is only 1% of the expat. So for the 99 other percent of French people living abroad, they represent France. They work in French company or bring their expertise, and also they come back to France. They've got another perspective of what's going on in France. So it's very important. Actually, Nicolas Sarkozy thinks that the French people living abroad are very important.
Given that what we know about how French political opinion appears to have divided thus far on the basis of the first round, 18% or whatever it is going to the French National Front, isn't it very odd to see a socialist candidate trying to get some of that vote? People who would otherwise vote National Front or have voted National Front.
Believe me, if you had watched the debate this evening, you wouldn't think that Mr. Hollande tried to attract any votes. What he said is that he would be fair and tough on security, just like the last socialist government has been, but he hasn't followed the line of Mr. Sarkozy, which has been in the past few weeks talking about halal meat, swimming pools, women and men being divided in swimming pools. things that are not real concerns for the French people.
Your candidate, Mr. Sarkozy, knows that he needs to get some of this National Front vote, doesn't he?
It's no question of getting the vote of the National Front. It's a question of responding to 18% of the population who has those questions.
In the real world, he has to get some of that vote in order to be in with a chance. Right now, he doesn't look as if he's got much of a chance.
We see on Sunday.
And may I say that in the real world, the Daily Telegraph described the National Front as a racist party, and that is what it is.
Aren't you uncomfortable at the idea of trying to court that vote?
I think a lot of people actually vote National Front. It's not because they were for Marine Le Pen. It's because they wanted to show they were not happy about some policies. They want some issue related to immigration because there is a big problem in France. And until now, the immigration was only the issue of the National Front. And it's now 18% of the population complain about it. So we have to do something about it.
Do you think when Monsieur Hollande says that he's going to offer Europe another model for how to deal with this economic crisis, is he serious?
I think he is. And if he gets elected by over 20 or 25 million French people, I think he would benefit from a strong democratic legitimacy to put forward some new proposals. He doesn't necessarily want to ask 25 other states to forget about what they've agreed.
But he does claim he'll be a model.
Yes, but he said he agrees with fiscal responsibility. He actually thinks it is very important. He also reminded the French people tonight that the public debt has been doubled under the right-wing government in France in the last 10 years. So fiscal responsibility is not necessarily where...
That's not right.
Where he's...
I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Well,
it's incorrect. I say 250 billion were debts from carry on since 1974. The other 200,000 billion are debts also from the financial crisis, and all the other countries of Europe had it. So it's not that it's coming from the 5 years of Nicolas Sarkozy.
You can save the rest for your hustings in South Kensington. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Okay, tomorrow morning's front pages, some of them. The Guardian goes with the story of the SIS operative who was found dead, and the coroner is unable to determine precisely what happened. The same stories on the front page of The Independent and on the front page of the Daily Mail, and Mervyn King's comments about how he might have handled the economic crisis better are on the front page of the Times. Well, that's all from Newsnight tonight. Kirsty's here tomorrow after the polls close. Good night.